for the advancement of women. I had the honor of speaking with one of the award recipients, Elenor Smeal. She's the president of the Feminist Majority Foundation and the publisher of Ms. Magazine. So tell me what your position is, what causes you're most passionate about.
Well, we got to end the war, but we also have to, not go backwards for women or for civil rights or for civil liberties. And first we got to stop this aggression, stop our defense policies are eating up the money. But also we have a Supreme Court that's reversing civil rights and women's rights, and that's got to stop.
Tell me in what ways they're doing that.
Well, we just lost a Supreme Court decision on abortion that says the woman's health no longer needs to be taken in consideration in making restrictions. We also lost a very important case on sex discrimination in employment. It was wage discrimination, in which the court essentially gutted the enforcement clause of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act in wage discrimination. And I think it's a very bad sign. It affects both race and sex. And then Brown versus the Board of Education, which was the great integration case, they essentially again went backwards on it. 50 years afterwards. I never thought that could happen. So we have a very serious right-wing court that isn't conservative, it's reactionary. And then we have, global warming, so many challenges. So the women's movement not only has to fight for women's rights, we have to fight to change the direction of our country.
In regards to global warming, what do you think are the most pressing issues to women or people in general?
Well, the major issue is that we have an emergency. We have to recognize not only that there's global warming and stop this nonsense of the Bush administration, and the science knows that there's a global warming going on. And we must take profound steps to change to fight overconsumption, to fight carbon dioxide emissions, but also to fight overpopulation. I mean, the reality is that we have pronatalist policies that is keeping birth control away from women by making it inaccessible, by making it too expensive, and by not educating, giving women opportunities for empowerment. And the species is in danger. Our human species is in danger. But we need to reverse our family planning policies and our women's empowerment policies to really change the direction that the world is going. 6 billion people going towards 11 billion, and we have an AIDS epidemic, and what this administration is doing is teaching abstinence only.
Did you say that the funds have been cut in half?
Yeah, what's happened is in constant dollars, we get half as much for global family planning, half as much for domestic family planning, and then of that, half is going to abstinence only. So you have essentially a quarter. Okay. So and we're a lot bigger population. So it's just ludicrous. That's what's happening domestically and globally. We're in, instead of the money going to meaningful programs, we're wasting it on ignorant programs that don't work by our own government's research. And at the same time, we're making it inaccessible birth control. Some experts believe that right now in sub-Saharan Africa, in an AIDS epidemic, African men have access to 5 condoms a year on the average. Think about that. Why should condoms be controversial? Why aren't we in a world, leading a world crusade, or not that word crusade isn't right, a world campaign to make sure that there are enough condoms manufactured?
With the eco causes, what is probably the top 3 things that a woman as the head of her household can do to help combat their carbon emissions or eco impacts?
I think the first thing is really we got to stop the overconsumption. And I know that's the hardest thing. People talk about recycling, which is good, but on the other hand, not consuming in the first place is better. Obviously, lights and things like that. But I have to tell you, I believe we have to push for fundamental policy changes, because this is really a governmental solution is needed. This is a massive problem. Really a global solution is needed. We must not only sign the Kyoto Treaty, but we must indeed go beyond that. And we need to have real alternative energy research. I mean, basically, we're not funding it at the level. A lot of words, but not fall through.
Tell me about the magazine that you work on.
Work on the Ms. Magazine. We publish Ms. Magazine, which is on recyclable, total biodegradable paper.
When did you
We
start
were the
that?
first woman. Well, it's the magazine that Gloria Steinem started 35 years ago. It's our anniversary issue is this year. And we were the first women's magazine to go on recycled, biodegradable paper.
Yeah.
And you can't tell the difference. I don't know why everybody doesn't use it.
It's still glossy, beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful paper, but it's you got to have a social and environmental conscience. You got to make these decisions, and it's now. What are we leaving our children and grandchildren, for heaven's sakes?
Yeah.
So I'm proud that we did that, but I think we should all do so much more. So every major thing that you can do to change policy, and one of the key things is elect people who care about the environment and the future, not just about corporate profits, that are really profits that are not realistic. Because if you look at all the costs to the environment, there's no profits. And basically, that's not how business should be conducted. Exploitation, the sweatshops, and environmental degradation is not a way of the future.
Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
I love passionate people like Elenor. It's really inspiring to me. Gives us a lot of food for thought.